The NBA's frustration boiled over like a pot left unattended on the stove after the financial report for the WNBA came out. The numbers were in, and they weren't pretty. The league, which had been bolstered by the promise of young stars and the push for gender equality, reported a $40 million loss for the year. And that was despite a historic rookie season from Caitlin Clark, the basketball phenomenon who came in like a breath of fresh air, tossing three-pointers and dropping jaws left and right. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. To put it bluntly, the NBA had hoped for more from their sister league. Caitlin Clark, who many in the media have already dubbed the next big thing in women's sports, had seemingly done everything right. She was a highlight reel, a social media sensation, and the kind of player who got people tuning in just to see what she would do next. Her ability to shoot the lights out and her competitive fire had the WNBA fanbase buzzing with a level of excitement not seen in years. But excitement doesn't always pay the bills. The NBA executives had to face a stark reality. A league with so much talent, with a generational star leading the charge, still couldn't find a way to balance its books. Even the most casual observer could sense the frustration. It wasn't hard to imagine the meetings at NBA headquarters, where business suits sat around conference tables, staring at spreadsheets and wondering why Clark's breakout season hadn't brought in the financial windfall they were hoping for. Caitlin Clark's rise to prominence wasn't an accident. Her shooting range is like the distance between a coffee shop's Wi-Fi signal and your seat at the very back of the room. It's absurd in a good way. She came into the WNBA with a resume that already had sports fans talking about her like she was the basketball version of a prodigy child actor turned superstar. Fans of her college days still remember her casually pulling up from the logo like she was checking a text message. She wasn't just a scorer, she was a spectacle. Clark's transition to the professional game was seamless. She adapted quickly, and soon enough, she was lighting up the court in her rookie season like she was still back playing against overmatched college defenses. It wasn't just her scoring, though. Her ability to find open teammates and elevate her team's play had commentators waxing poetic, and even the most cynical sports analysts had to give her credit. But while Clark's performances drew comparisons to NBA stars and fueled the hype machine, the WNBA's financial woes continued to deepen. The frustration wasn't just about the money. It was about the perceived disconnect. The numbers didn't match the narrative. The league had a star in the making, one who could sell tickets and jerseys, and yet somehow the revenue didn't keep pace. It felt like the WNBA was running on a treadmill, stuck in the same spot despite all the effort. The NBA's involvement in the WNBA isn't just a matter of goodwill or some vague sense of duty to the sport. There's a vested interest, both financially and reputationally. The NBA has been backing the WNBA for years, providing support in the hopes that the Women's League would eventually stand on its own. But each year of financial losses made the goal seem further away, and the $40 million figure felt like a slap in the face. It was the kind of loss that has investors and executives leaning back in their chairs, loosening their ties, and wondering what they're missing. The hope was that Caitlin Clark, with her spectacular rookie season, would be a game-changer in more ways than one. Not just on the court, but at the box office, in sponsorship deals, and in broadcasting rights. For the league, Clark represented a chance to capitalize on what has been a slowly building wave of interest in women's sports. She wasn't just playing basketball. She was selling the idea that women's basketball could be just as thrilling, just as marketable, as the men's game. But financial reports don't care about narratives or potential. They only care about dollars and cents. And in this case, the dollars were stubbornly refusing to line up. The NBA's frustration, at its core, came down to the feeling that they were investing in a product that wasn't yielding returns. It wasn't just about Caitlin Clark, of course. She was one star in a league that still faced challenges in terms of visibility and perception. But her rise to stardom was supposed to be a turning point, and the financial losses made it clear that the road ahead was still steep and rocky. It didn't help that NBA players and coaches have been some of the loudest advocates for the WNBA, often going out of their way to show support on social media or even in person at games. There was a sense of shared investment, a belief that the success of the Women's League was tied to the broader success of basketball. But with each year of financial struggles, that narrative got harder to sell, and the support from the NBA began to feel more like an obligation than a partnership. Caitlin Clark wasn't oblivious to the financial realities of the league she had just joined. By all accounts, she was aware of the pressures and expectations placed on her shoulders. But she wasn't one to shy away from a challenge. Her competitive spirit and work ethic were evident in her approach to the game, and those who knew her best often spoke of her determination to prove the doubters wrong. On the court, she played with a chip on her shoulder, and off it, she seemed to have a knack for handling the media circus with a calm confidence that belied her age. There were moments throughout the season when Clark's star power was on full display. Her ability to pull off seemingly impossible shots with a straight face became a trademark. Fans loved it, and even her opponents had to begrudgingly admit that she was something special. But while Clark's popularity soared, the league's financial struggles remained an elephant in the room that no amount of highlight reel plays could ignore. For the NBA, the $40 million loss wasn't just a number, it was a wake-up call. It was a reminder that no matter how talented the players are, no matter how compelling the stories might be, there's still a business side to sports that needs to be reckoned with. The frustration was palpable, and it wasn't hard to understand why. The investment in the WNBA was supposed to be a long-term play, but with each passing year of financial losses, the long-term felt like it was turning into a pipe dream. In boardrooms, the conversations undoubtedly turned toward finding solutions. How do you turn the excitement generated by stars like Caitlin Clark into financial stability? It wasn't a question with an easy answer, and the NBA's frustration stemmed from the fact that they had seemingly tried everything. They had marketed the players, pushed for more broadcasting opportunities, and increased investment in the league's infrastructure. And yet, the losses persisted. Clark's rookie season, for all its brilliance, had highlighted the paradox facing the WNBA. The league had never been more exciting, more full of promise, and yet financially, it was struggling more than ever. It wasn't a lack of talent. It wasn't even a lack of effort. The pieces were there, but they weren't fitting together the way they were supposed to. The fans, of course, were mostly oblivious to the financial drama playing out behind the scenes. For them, it was all about the game. They watched Clark and her fellow stars put on a show night after night, and they cheered with the kind of passion that only true fans can muster. They bought jerseys and attended games, and on social media, they defended the league with a fervor that sometimes bordered on zealotry. But fan support, no matter how passionate, can only go so far when the financial reality is pulling in the opposite direction. As the season wore on, it became clear that Caitlin Clark's impact, while significant, wasn't enough to offset the broader challenges facing the WNBA. The league's financial woes weren't going away, and the NBA's frustration was only growing. It was the kind of situation that seemed to have no easy fix, and the more the numbers failed to add up, the more the NBA executives felt like they were banging their heads against a wall. Clark's journey in the WNBA was just beginning, and there was no doubt that she would continue to be a central figure in the league's narrative. She was the kind of player who could draw a crowd and make casual fans sit up and take notice. But the NBA's financial investment wasn't just about building stars. It was about building a sustainable league. And the $40 million loss was a stark reminder that there was still a long way to go on that front. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.